I can understand there are so many distractions that have made some of us to become weak, distraction that have made some of us to decide to abandon the cause, distraction that have made some people to chicken out. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. There is no other two ways. There is no going back. It is forward ever and backward never. And there is no other alternative. If there were to be other alternative, I bet you I will preach it and I will equally like to adopt that. But as it stands today, the only remedy to the failed state called Nigeria, the only remedy remains Biafra. And when we say Biafra is the only remedy, do not misunderstand us for those who are not Biafrans, but they are genuinely seeking for a place where they can be secure, a place where they can call their own, a home, a country they can boldly defend. People from other regions, from other ethnicities, from other nations that are concerned about the failed state Nigeria, when you hear us present Biafra as the only remedy, do not get agitated. All we are saying is disintegration remains the only alternative. Let there be peaceful separation. As Biafra gets their independence, the core north, the Arewa people, we have their caliphate. The Yorubas, we establish their monarchical system, enjoy it to the best as they can. The Biafrans, we have their secular system and enjoy it. The Middle Belters can equally apply whatever system suits them. That is all we mean when we say Biafra is the only remedy. As a Biafran, there is no other remedy that we can see except this. Genuinely, our call is not a call for violence. It is not a call for disorder. It is not a hate speech. It is a call for concern of humanity and mankind in the contraption called Nigeria. And we will continue to make this call. It does not matter what the enemy says or what they do, we will continue to make this call. And it is because of that call that we have a special day called Monday Sit at Home. Every blessed Monday, a day that Biafrans exercise their civil disobedience. Biafrans exercise civil disobedience on their own. Nobody is being forced. Nobody is being coerced. This is something we have seen that worked and continue to work for us. Because in the contraption called Nigeria, where we find ourselves, is a country where you cannot protest. You cannot even speak your mind. You can't air your opinion. So Biafrans have been able to derive a better means of expressing themselves and putting their requests forward all the way from Mazi Nandekano to Mazi Simon Ekpa to where we are now, through Sit at Home. It has worked wonderfully well. The Sit at Home helps to save life. The Sit at Home helps to keep you safe while you are making your request. Keep you safe while the world is listening. The Sit at Home is drawing the attention of everyone to your plight. The Biafran people have used civil disobedience effectively. So many people have other things to say about it. So many people have other understanding about the Sit at Home, but I'm telling you exactly what it is, what it means to us who are genuinely seeking for Biafra. For those of us who are genuinely seeking for Biafra, the Sit at Home is a sacrifice that we have to make by ourselves, by our own, a decision Biafrans made by themselves. The Nigerian government that we know, a lying government, have tried by all means necessary to demonize the Sit at Home. They have thrown every single thing they have, every single weapon on that Sit at Home. They blackmailed it. They took innocent life. They said so many things. They make it look violent. They tell you that it's been enforced. All these lies we are told to remove that thing that gives you the right to express yourself. Sit at Home was speaking volume, and the world was paying attention. People were listening, old, young. People who do not know what was happening in Biafra land began to pay attention. And the people in power became agitated. They went to work and they created so many false flag operations in Biafra land. There were so many false flags everywhere in Biafra land using their Ebubago precisely. Ebubago was indicted precisely. We have our sister Lolo Neka, who is on the ground, and she made investigation on those who are perpetrating the insecurity in the southeast, those who are committing the atrocities. And our sister Lolo Neka came out with incredible information. But up to Tuesday, she has been shouting online and say, call me out to testify anywhere. Bring me even to the court to testify that she is ready. She has been shouting and talking. Nobody pays attention to her. Not the illegitimate governors in Biafra land, not the illegitimate politicians in Abuja, not anybody goes to that woman to listen to what she has, the information she has. She equally went ahead to say that she can take an oath in a shrine. Because people tend to say that the Bible or your Quran doesn't work fast. So when it comes to the deities, they don't spare you. She has offered to stand in a shrine and take an oath and testify on what she has seen on those who are perpetrating evil in Biafra. But nobody pays attention to it. But will that make us to stop? We will never stop. So today, as you all know, is Monday, a special day dedicated to the supreme leader of IPOB, Mazen Nandikam, to demand for his unconditional release and the unconditional release of every Biafran political prisoner anywhere in that Sovietical Republic, including, in extension, as we speak, our Prime Minister, Mazen Samane. The Monday sit-at-home speaks volume. It is the day that will delegitimize everyone that is operating under the government of Nigeria. It is a day that will show the world that Nigerian government have lost legitimacy in Biafran territory. It is a day that we use to show to the world that Nigeria is not in control of Biafra, that they are occupying force. It is a day that we draw the attention of the international community to Biafra land and the Biafran plight. It has been working amazingly well, all the way from Mazen Nandikano till Mazen Simon Eba, who picked it up on the detention of Mazen Nandikano. I can bet you sit at home on Monday was one of the things that kept Mazen Nandikano alive and on front line today. That have finally made the international community to weigh in. And today, the case of Mazen Nandikano is no longer a local case. It's not about Nigerian government or Nigerian local politics. No. International bodies are now paying attention to what is going on. And I bet you a lot is going to happen. It doesn't matter the amount they pay to lobbyists. It doesn't matter the amount they spend. Truth cannot be buried anymore. Truth cannot be ignored anymore. So wherever you are watching this program from, I urge you in the name of Chukwuka Kabiama to pay attention. As you join us on this platform, pay attention to every single information that comes. Remember, this is a platform for public opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. I am entitled to mine. If you have a superior argument, I will gladly bring you up for you to speak. All you need to do is to send me a request. Either you are watching on TikTok, or you're watching on Facebook, or you're watching on YouTube. Send a request. I will bring it up, and then you can come up with your superior argument. You must not agree with everything I say. All we do here is to engage in a constructive argument, and then the people of the world we judge, more especially the Biafrans, can be able to make their decision on what they want. I am not going to decide for you. Neither will you decide for me. And that is why you see the cry for self-referendum by Mazen Nandikano. Self-referendum by Mazen Samaneka. And Mazen Samaneka went an extra mile to conduct that self-referendum. He conducted it, and more than 50 million Biafrans came out and said, we are good to go. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. You can hate him. You can like him. You can't beat that record. And that record stands. So wherever you are watching this program this very morning, I urge you in the name of Chukwuka Kabiama to please join us with an open heart. Join us. Everything we say might not be sweet to you, might not be palatable. You might not agree, but be patient and equally be bold to come out and challenge us and then present a superior argument for people to learn. Nobody knows it all. All we are doing is to broaden arguments so that things can be able to be opened up. Forget about your sentiment. Don't be too emotional. Being too emotional has become one of the major problems we have as Biafrans. We are too emotional when it comes to the issue of Biafra. When we fall in love with a certain group or a certain person or a certain individual, sometimes we go overboard to ignore the sensible things, the critical things, sensitive things that are happening because of our emotion. So in 2026, as I said in my first broadcast, that we need to be checking on our emotions so that we can be able to tap into this opportunity that presents itself in Nigeria today. There is a great opportunity. There is a great opportunity in Nigeria today that we cannot afford to waste or miss. That is why we continue consistently on our civil disobedience. I continue to preach the message on continue talking about the sit at home on Monday, civil disobedience. For you to know the reason why you be part of it, you should be part of it. Today, our Supreme Amazon Nandekano has completely been taken out from us and sent to the headquarters of the caliphate in the territory of the enemy. They decide where he goes, what he said, what he eats, how he moves, and who he talks to. The same caliphate that we know that are responsible for the genocide against the Biafrans. Today, Mazen Nandekano is in their net. So if there is any time we need to pay attention and demand for the release of Mazen Nandekano, it is now. If there is any time we will show anger, we will show that we disapprove of what the government of Nigeria is doing, it is now. How do you show that? Nobody is going to tell you to go out and protest, because you know that protesting in Nigeria is a suicide mission. Nobody is going to ask you to go and protest. All we are going to ask you is that, please, on your own, see it reasonable to participate on the sit at home. If you are in Biafra land, be part of the sit at home. Sacrificing one day in a week, it is not too much. Our Supreme Amazon Nandekano have sacrificed everything sacrificable. Until now, he's still sacrificing. So giving out one day alone is not too much to draw attention of the world and demand for the unconditional release of Mazen Nandekano, a man who was illegally convicted. Mazen Nandekano was convicted without a written law. It is not a joke. It is not just a propaganda. You can Google it up. You can check it up. The conviction of Mazen Nandekano was based on unwritten law. That was why we saw the popular statement of Mazen Nandekano, which says, Omotosho, show me the law. Omotosho, show me the law. He was convicted without a written law. Only for us to find out that the law that Mazen Nandekano was convicted was a repealed law. A law that doesn't exist. A repealed law. And this happened in a country where they have lawyers, senior advocates, judges, human rights. They were all there. A man was convicted without a written law. And he was shouting in the court, show me the law. It was never shown to him. Instead, he was shot out of the court and they pronounced their illegal sentence on Mazen Nandekano. As if that is not enough, they gave him a life sentence. In the same country where a Boko Haram member, a convicted Boko Haram that is confirmed that have taken thousands of lives, was given 11 years imprisonment for terrorism. But somebody that has not committed any crime, has not been seen with any ammunition or weapon, has not been caught in any warfare, has not been seen in anywhere attacking anybody, was given a life sentence. And he wants me to keep silent. He wants me to go back to sleep and sleep. I'm not going to be silent, neither will I sleep. I will continue to speak about the illegal detention of Mazen Nandekano, The illegal detention of Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoku, who the Finland authority today are still holding. What crime did Mazi Simon commit? Mazi Simon Ekpa is fighting for self-determination. How could you detain a man for self-determination? They say he was instigating violence. What is instigation of violence when you tell your people to defend themselves? Self-defense is a natural law supported by every law in this planet Earth. Every law on the planet of every country in this planet Earth supports self-defense. It's a natural law. Supports self-defense. International law supports it. African peoples and human rights law, including the Zoological Republic law, supports self-defense. That was what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preaching. When the loss of life has become so much, the attack and the recruitment of the terrorists in Nigerian army became obvious and open. They made it open. It became a free ride for them. There is no other thing that do than encourage our people to defend themselves. That was what Mazi Simon Ekpa did. That was the crime he committed. Self-defense. The same thing that Jackson did, that Jackson was released. Jackson that was defending himself against the terrorists. A Fulani terrorist stabbed Johnson, and Johnson overpowered him, took out the knife, and gave him twice. And he lost his life. And Johnson was sentenced to death. And the whole world was outraged. That was exactly the same thing you can compare to the case of Mazi Simon Ekpa. The people who were coming every blessed day, taking the innocent life of his people, attacking his, there were blood flowing everywhere in Biafra land. The forest occupied, nobody arrested, nobody protecting them, and Mazi Simon Ekpa volunteered himself to direct them, guide them, and preach self-defense. When they saw that Biafrans were applying self-defense, now they took Mazi Simon Ekpa away. Sentenced him for 6 years. What crime had he committed? Self-defense. Preaching self-determination. And you want us to be silent. We will not be silent. We will continue to speak. And that is why today, being Monday, we have taken a topic which says, Biafra Monday sit at home. Truth as a revolution act and the collapse of the old world order. This is what we are going to discuss today. Tighten up your seatbelt. Feel free to join us to bring your superior argument or contributions when the time comes. The title of the message says, Biafra Monday sit at home. Truth as a revolution act. Truth as a revolution act. The collapse of the old world order. The collapse of the old world order. This is what we are going to discuss today, and we will try as much as we can to trash and treat this very topic as much as we can. So I welcome every one of you once again that have joined us on this very broadcast today, wherever you are connecting from, any part of the world you are joining us from, you are welcome. If you are joining us from Iran, you're joining us from Israel, you're joining us from the United States, Europe, America, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Asia, you're joining us from Biafra land, wherever you are joining from, I welcome you and I appreciate you for being part of this program. I welcome everyone that is joining, every oppressed person, wherever you are and you are oppressed, you are welcome to this program this morning. This morning program is not just an ordinary morning program. It is not just another ordinary Monday program. Today is Biafra Monday. A special Monday. We all know that. Nobody's going to take it away from us. And on days like this, we don't speak carelessly. On days like this, on Monday, we don't speak carelessly. We speak with clarity. We speak with discipline. We speak with truth. Because in a country like Nigeria, telling the truth has become a revolutionary act. If you can hear my voice this morning, I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and understand one thing very, very clearly. This broadcast is not about hate. This broadcast is about truth, and truth is power. Have this at the back of your mind as we progress on this very program. The program we're hosting is not about hate. It is about truth. And know it that truth is power. I want to say this very clearly. Biafra Monday sit at home is not violence. Biafra Monday sit at home is not violence. It is discipline. It is collective consciousness. It is a people saying, we are aware. We refuse to be ignored. That is what Monday sit at home is all about. Sit at home is not about fear. It is about control of our own space. It is about withholding consent from a system that has failed us. When a people decide peacefully to shut down their street, their markets, their movements, they are sending a message louder than guns. We do not consent to our own oppression. That's what you are saying. We do not consent to our oppression. This is why Biafra Monday terrifies the Nigerian state. It terrifies them. They don't want to hear it. They can't stand it. Each time they hear it, they get agitated. And Mazin Nanikano told us, those things you know that when you say it or when you do it, Nigeria will be on their toes. Continue to do it. That's the right thing to do. We do not consent to our own oppression. That is why Biafra Monday terrifies the Nigerian states. Not because of violence. When they tell you, oh, Monday sit at home, they are not talking about Monday sit at home or castigating it because of violence. No. But because of unity and consistency. The kind of unity they see among the ordinary people, the same people they think that they cannot unite, the same people they thought they cannot be led, the same people they thought they can't speak in one voice, they saw them uniting themselves in civil disobedience every Monday. They see the consistency for many years. That is why it terrifies them. Empires can crush protest. Empires can arrest voices. But empires panic when millions of people become disciplined and united. Now you understand why they are so scared and they don't want to hear anything called civil disobedience. It is not violence. Not because of the violence. That's not why they are shouting and talking. In Nigeria today, truth is dangerous. The most dangerous thing in Nigeria, when you are in Nigeria today, is to tell the truth. So let us talk about that. In a healthy society, truth corrects leadership. But in Nigeria, truth exposes leadership. Truth exposes leadership in Nigeria. That is why they are so scared about it. That is why truth is haunted in Nigeria. That is why truth is labeled hate speech in Nigeria. You speak the truth, they call it hate speech. Open your mouth, you say the truth, they call it hate speech. That is why truth tellers are jailed, harassed, and silenced. like it was done to Mazen Nandekano, like it's been done to Mazen Samoneba, and so many other people who have been sentenced and put to jail simply because they told the truth. Because lies are the fuel of Nigeria's survival. The only thing that keeps Nigeria alive is lies. That is why they are so scared about the truth. Whenever you speak the truth about the situation of Nigeria, whenever you make a sincere report about the situation of Nigeria, they get agitated, they get mad. They lie about insecurity. They lie about unity. They lie about justice. They lie about equality. Everything is lies. The worst of all, they lie to the poor masses, especially the Biafran people. They lie to the Biafran people. I want to say this clearly. Poverty in Nigeria is not an accident. It is a policy sustained by lies. Poverty in Nigeria is not an accident. It is a policy sustained by lies. And when you tell the poor the truth, you give them the most dangerous gift of all, awareness. That is what they are scared of. That is what the Nigerian government is scared of. Very, very scared about it. A lot is happening. And we thank Chukwu Okukabiyama that the truth has come to stay. In this era that we find ourselves, in this new world order, under the new president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, the truth cannot be hidden. Under the Republican government, the truth cannot be hidden. I am speaking about the case of the Nigerian situation now. It doesn't matter the amount of billions you pay. It doesn't matter the amount of money you pour in. The truth cannot be hidden. Now, let us look beyond Nigeria. Let's look beyond Nigeria issue. For decades, the world has been controlled by an old global order. For many decades, an order rooted in British imperial influence. An order that has been controlling this world is rooted in British imperial influence, elite interests, and manufactured narratives. We have seen them over and over again. An order where Africa provides resources, the West control the narrative, local elites enforce oppression. This has been going on for many decades. But as we speak now, something has changed. Something has changed. Whether people like Donald Trump or hate him, Donald J. Trump disrupts the order. And that is one joy that we have. It's not that Donald Trump is going to hand us Biafra in a platter of gold. It's not that Donald Trump is an angel. It's not that Donald Trump is a god. But there's an important disruption that is coming from Donald Trump that is very important for the oppressed to be free. If we must be free, this disruption that we're seeing today under Donald J. Trump is necessary. Very, very necessary. Whether people like him or hate him, Donald J. Trump disrupts the order that is keeping people captive. The old world order is being disrupted today. And I bet you it is going to work to our own advantage. He said what was not supposed to be said. Every single thing they don't, a regular politician will not say. Donald J. Trump will say it. He challenged institutions that were never meant to be questioned. You see Donald J. Trump pulling the United States away from so many United Nations organizations. that have held people captive, including WHO, World Health Organization, that we know that is a criminal institution. Donald Trump challenged institutions that were never meant to be challenged or questioned. He exposed the hypocrisy of global power structure. Pay good attention, because this is the old world order that is being manipulated by the British all the way from the Buckingham Palace. That is why the Biafrans should rejoice with the presence of Donald Trump. That is why we rejoice. That is why we don't, because we know breaking that world order will loosen the grip of the British in Nigeria. And that will lead to the freedom of the Biafran people. Listen carefully. When the global order shakes, local operation also weakens. When the global order shakes, local operation weakens. This is a fact that you cannot deny. That is why Nigeria's elites are nervous. Very, very nervous. Because their legitimacy is borrowed. Their authority is sponsored by the British. Their survival depends on silence and global cover. That is how the manipulation in the Zoological Republic survived. The contraption, the institution, the company called Nigeria is surviving because of the silence and global cover they get, which is managed by the British. But when truth spreads from Washington to Africa, the poor begins to connect the dots. Just like every one of us is connecting the dots today. If you are not yet connecting the dots, sorry, go back to sleep. When we go to the promised land, we will wake you up. If you are of age, you are an African descent of age at this time, you have not yet connected the dots. Go back to sleep. When the time comes, you know. Biafra is not just a land. Biafra is truth movement. That is why I always say that Biafra is the only remedy to the failed state Nigeria. Because it's only truth that can challenge that lie, crumble it, and make people have a responsible and reasonable life. Biafra is not just a land. Biafra is a truth movement. It is the truth that Nigeria never worked for everyone. Nigeria has never worked for everyone. Not, I can even tell you that, not for anyone. Only for the few criminals. The federation was forced, not agreed. These are the truths that they don't want to confront. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants you to say it. Once you say it, they tag you an enemy. Either they call you an instigator or they call you, say they're making a hate speech. But these are truths that cannot be hidden. Nigeria never works for everyone. Nigeria Federation was forced, not agreed. The Biafran people have paid the highest price any human being can pay to be alive. The Biafran people have paid the greatest price any creature can pay to survive. That is why Biafran Monday sit at home matters a lot. It matters. You might not know the level, the strength, the energy that is derived from this sit at home. The effect of the Monday sit at home, you don't know. You will not know until you pay close attention. And I pray that we begin to pay attention. I pray we begin to pay attention and stop ignoring things. It is education without classroom. Monday sit at home is education without classroom. It is protest without violence. It is resistance without hatred. That is the exact interpretation of Monday civil disobedience. And this truth is what they don't want you to be part of. Nigeria is so terrified about this truth. The criminals who are operating that company called Nigeria are so terrified with these facts. Our Monday civil disobedience is education without classroom. It educates a lot of people. The entire world have been educated about the situation of Nigeria. The entire world have been educated about the situation of Biafran people every Monday. It is a protest without violence. A protest that when you set your satellite in Biafra land, you see deserted place. You see empty shop locked up. You see empty road. A protest without any single violence. From day one, there has never been. That is why the government of Nigeria tried to introduce violence into it. Created so many false flags into it. But I thank Chukwu that they failed woefully. They failed. It is resistant without hatred. The Biafran people, we don't hate anybody. We do not hate anybody.